Welcome back to Creepcast. Today we're reading The Smiling Ones on Space Station Mir. Would you like to tell us about the author?
I have to finish chewing my mint. Sorry.
You can do the mic at least.
The author of this story is someone named Darius Pilgrim. And I think that's his actual name. He is the author of this story, which you can get as an ebook on Amazon. He also has another published story that Nick's iPad has once again crashed for the 13th time today. It's going to make me lose my mind. He's also the author of Wrong Roads, Scary Stories from Coast to Coast. Or at least he was one of the contributors to the anthology book of it. So he's got a couple things published out. This story comes highly recommended. As a matter of fact, we're going to be reading it on Darius's website, dariuspilgrim.com, that will be linked in the description. So you can keep up with the stuff there. Harry says this is a good one. I've never read it before. People have recommended this to us in the subreddit a couple times. So hopefully it's cool. Sounds like it's cool. We haven't done a space story since
Mr. Floppy?
Yeah. That what was that one? The other astronaut on this trip died.
DariusPilgrim.wordpress.com/the smiling dash the dash smiling dash ones dash on dash space dash station dash mir / Wow. And it will be in the link as well. But if you want to type it out, which I like to do, I thought that I would just put that.
You've never done that before.
DariusPilgrim.wordpress.com / I'm not gonna do the link.
Before we went and got ice cream right before this, and
children.
Like children.
we do sound like children. Before we got ice cream before this.
Before we went to our scary story, we went and got ice cream.
Yeah, ice cream.
And while we were getting ice cream, Allison referred to me as Hunter's friend, and he quickly corrected her and said, coworker.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. There was no jest. There was no joke to his tone. He hasn't shown any humor in that statement since then. So,
we got ice cream though. It's pretty good. Do you like space stories?
I feel like they are very hit or miss.
Guess they never miss, huh?
Okay. I feel like they can do some really cool stuff. Like
I forgot about it. You just really flashed him there.
it's the dumbest drawing I've ever seen.
Come on, man.
Wait, the dumbest?
I mean, just like the big cheese smile with the tiny.
So the smiling ones on Space Station Mir.
Well, what I was saying is like a lot of them are either really good. You can do cool stuff with them, like the themes of the comet going through space and stuff that we saw in the writing during the other astronaut on this mission died 6 weeks ago. And I'm trying to think I know there's some space stuff I've read that's kind of lame. I think I read one about like a bug on a spaceship when I was younger that was kind of just like lackluster. The setting's very creepy, but you got to do something with it.
Do you like the name of the story?
Yeah, I think the smiling ones. I mean, similar to the other astronaut died. It's like, why would there be smiling ones in the middle of space, right? What is that? Just a stack of drawings?
Well, it's some drawings I've done.
What all's in there? To me, we saw that one. Everyone saw that one. Yeah. Why does he always draw my neck so long? 5 seconds before we started recording, he said, He asked, "Who's your favorite superhero?" I said, "Probably Batman." Just had that ready to go. That's really good. Whoa, what's that? Oh my gosh, it's like a skull coming out of a hand.
I don't know.
Hold up, can you get that one and Smile Dog out? Can you just hold them both up to the camera at the same time? No, that's not the one I asked you to get out. I need you.
All right, let's read this story.
Okay. Smiling ones on Space Station Mir.
Can I be controversial off the top? I think the title's a bit of a flop for me.
You don't like it? Is that what you're asking me why I felt about it? Yeah. Felt about it? What would you rather it be called?
I don't know. I need to read the story first to make a title name. I just don't like smiling ones.
You don't like smiling ones? You know,
just a bit try hard. And then also Mir. Isn't that what they gave Jesus?
That's myrrh. Spelled M-Y-R-R. It's different. What's this like shifty little... You're in a mood right now. You're acting like a goblin. All right. Part 1. March 19th, 2001, the Russian space station Mir disappeared from low Earth orbit. There's no collision or explosion. 1 minute it was there and the next it wasn't. For 24 panicked hours, a select group of scientists, intelligence agents, and government officials worked tirelessly to simultaneously figure out what had happened and prevent the general public from discovering that anything had occurred at all. Exactly 1 day later, Mir reappeared in the precise location it had last been observed. It appeared relatively unchanged, but for one major exception. The space station, which had been unoccupied for months in preparation of deorbiting, was now inhabited. The fact that you've never heard of this proves the cover-up was successful. Figuring out what caused this anomaly and what happened during the 24 hours Mir was missing is an entirely different matter. I know this because I was there, in Roscosmos Mission Control, on that day in March so long ago. Never told a single soul this story. I'm an old man now, and I don't have long left to live. Humanity needs to hear the truth, or there's no one left alive to tell it. Were you about to say something?
I don't want to be negative.
You already don't like it?
No, it's not that. It just reminds me a lot like a Twilight Zone episode.
Okay. Is that
called The Parallel? You ever watch that one?
Oh, a specific one. No, I don't think so. What happened?
Twilight Zone, The Parallel, an astronaut's going up into outer space, and then he all of a sudden he like blacks out, and the people on Earth are like, where did the spacecraft go? And he wakes up in basically an alternate reality, and then he has to basically go back out into space, whatever. But it was like going into space, it put him into an alternate timeline or an alternate reality where when he landed, he was on like a different version of Earth. But this whole idea of like going up, blip, gone.
I see.
What?
Hello?
Why'd you point at Nick when he walked by?
How you doing, Nick?
Good.
You gonna hang out with us?
No, I just came to make sure that I clicked record.
He's been in a weird
Did you get nervous?
Yeah, I always get a little nervous.
You want to hang out for a second and listen to the next paragraph of this?
Be a
What
support
is he
reader.
on? What are you on right now?
What?
He's in a strange mood. He's been weird. You didn't even do the thank you patrons for watching. Thank you to audio listeners. None of that.
You could say it now. Thank you.
Thank you, patrons. Thank you to all people listening on audio platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. Be sure to give us a rating over there. We really appreciate it. It means a lot. And of course, thank you to our lovely patrons who support the show with your hard-earned cash. It means the world. Extra content over there for you if you're interested. And there might be, I honestly have no idea if there'll be merch when this episode's up, but there might be that too. Creepcast.shop store. Creepcast.store.
No one else noticed it, but when we were pulling into my driveway, the person behind me ran over a turtle.
No, it didn't.
Is that what's been bothering you?
Kind of.
Where? On the road? Out on the road?
Yeah.
Where was the turtle? It's just in the middle of the
You
road.
weren't.
He's
But
in the
you weren't
road.
in a weird mood till we started recording.
It's been
You were fine talking to that other guy. You're fine talking to Allison. I ask him questions. He's like, got family annihilator eyes all of a sudden. All right. Just whatever. In the days leading up to the anomaly, there had been a distinct sense of gloom hanging over the mission control room. Every one of us there had dedicated... What are you doing? In the days leading up to the anomaly, there had been a distinct sense of gloom hanging over the mission control room. Every one of us there had dedicated our lives to the space station, and now it was all about to end. Mir was launched into orbit by the Soviet Union in 1986 for what was supposed to be a 5-year mission. Now, 15 years later, the plucky space station that had survived the end of the Cold War and collapse of the USSR was showing its age. It was cluttered, dirty, worn, and rapidly deteriorating when the Russian government decided to finally divert all funds and manpower to the newly built International Space Station. Yet it still held a special place in the heart of every Russian who had ever looked up to the stars and dreamed of what was out there. Multiple attempts were made by various private organizations and individuals to fund the continued existence of the station or even buy it outright. One company even tried to purchase Mir and turn it into a permanent orbital movie and television studio. In the end, it proved too expensive to be feasible, leaving us, a skeleton crew of scientists, astronauts, and engineers, to despondently monitor the last few days of the station's existence. It was like watching a beloved family member wither away in hospice care. I was a member of the Communications Division of Mir Mission Control, once a 25-person department, now dwindled down to just 6 essential personnel. I was home in bed when I received an urgent call at 4 a.m. The call stating that an emergency had occurred and requiring me to report to Mission Control immediately. I arrived to find the normally tranquil control room in a frenzy of activity that verged on panic. My head was spinning as I was briefed on the situation. How could this be true? Something as big as a space station doesn't disappear without a trace. It seemed impossible. We all did our best, but there wasn't a whole lot anyone could actually do. All of our trafficking systems seemed to indicate that the station had simply ceased to exist. Visual inspection of the station's normal trajectory confirmed this. Washington had also been discreetly contacted and vehemently denied involvement. Beyond that, what could be done? We activated every radio telescope we could get access to, hoping for a miracle. We even convinced the Americans to clandestinely use the Hubble telescope to aid in a visual search, but it was like looking for one particular grain of sand on all the world's beaches, and we all knew it. The next 24 hours passed in a haze of coffee, cigarettes, and sleep deprivation. Then, 24 hours to the second after it went missing, Mir suddenly and inexplicably reappeared as if we had collectively wished it back into existence. Monitors showed the station there, intact and seemingly whole, where a moment before there had been nothing but empty space and distant stars. Stunned silence engulfed the room, stretching out for what felt like hours. Then the radio crackled to life and I jumped in my seat, breaking the trance. We were receiving a radio transmission from an unmanned space station that had just reappeared as if by magic. It made no logical sense. The voice that came over the mission control speakers was breathless and panicked.
Mayday! 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 This is cosmonaut Alexei Ladovsky, attempting to contact Soviet space program in Moscow. Please! Does anyone read me? Over.
Can you imagine if a just boop, gone? Where'd it go? Pop, it's back.
What?
That's what happened to the Mir, right?
Huh?
That's what happened with Mir. Is that not what happened?
That's exactly what happened. But you're being
it's
sarcastic.
It's fucking scary. What? It's scary. Why are you laughing?
For a moment, no one reacted. It felt like all the air had been sucked out of the room. My mind was reeling, trying desperately to maintain a grip on reality in this world of sudden insanity. Ladovsky, Alexei Ladovsky. The name registered with me. I'd heard it somewhere before, but I couldn't remember where. We looked at one another in confusion, no one wanting to take responsibility for the situation, no one knowing how to proceed. Finally, the director made his way to the communication station to take command of the situation.
This is Yuri Koptev, General Director of the Russian Space Agency.
The soft hiss of static filled the room as we waited for a reply.
Russian Space Agency? I do not recall. I'm sorry, I do not recognize your name, Mr. Koptev. Is Chief Designer Sergei Korlov with you? I would very much like to speak with him.
I exchanged a confused look with the operator in the terminal next to mine, a small, bespectacled man named Yakovlev. Chief Designer Sergei Korolev was a legend, the founding father of the entire Soviet space program and arguably the founder of the modern astronomy as a whole. He had also been dead for over 30 years. Director Koptev somehow kept his cool, not missing a beat.
I'm sorry, Cosmonaut Ladovsky. The chief designer is not here at the moment. Might I be of assistance to you?
He replied with a barely detectable quiver in his voice. The only other sign betraying his trepidation was his hand gripping the transmitter so tightly that the knuckles turned a ghostly white.
Yes, comrade. You can tell me how to get off this damn thing and back to Earth. I could see it through the portholes. Please, you have to help me. I want to go home.
Affirmative, Cosmonaut. We're starting to work on it as we speak. In the meantime, it's very important that you stay calm and try to answer one question as best you can. I'm going to turn the radio over to my colleague Yakovlev, who will ask a few basic questions and take your biometric information in preparation.
Said Koptev. Then, whispering to Yakovlev,
Get him to take his heart rate, blood pressure, temperature, and anything else you can think of. Just keep him talking. Keep him distracted and listen for anything unnatural going on up there. This whole thing is unnatural, sir,
replied Yakovlev. Director Koptev glared at him and motioned for him to put on his headphones. He then turned to the rest of the room and raised his voice.
The rest of you I need prepared for a briefing up front in exactly 30 minutes. In the meantime, no phone calls or communications with anyone outside this room. No wives, parents, children, or anybody else. We're going completely silent. Failure to observe this protocol will result in immediate termination and incarceration.
He walked briskly into his office and motioned for the other senior department heads to follow. Half hour later, we had gathered in front of the mission control room under the large central screen. Director Koptev stood facing us, his countenance an emotionless mask. The sound of Yakovlev quietly speaking into the radio drifted up from the back of the otherwise silent room. Koptev cleared his throat and began.
As you all know, Russia's predecessor state the USSR was responsible for a great number of milestones in space exploration. One of the most important of these accomplishments was putting the first human into outer space, Yuri Gagarin, who completed an orbit around Earth on April 12, 1961.
A black and white picture of Gagarin, dressed heroically and covered in medals, appeared on the screen.
What most of you do not know is that Yuri Gagarin was actually one of the first humans to survive spaceflight. 4 attempts were made previous to Gagarin, each ending in tragedy. As the Soviet Union was at the time in the midst of a space race with the United States, any possible failures were deemed poor for morale. As such, each attempt went unannounced and was shrouded in secrecy. Gagarin succeeded and was paraded as hero for the world to see. The failures were covered up and the details remain classified to this day. The first of these secret attempts was made in 1957, a few months after the success of Sputnik, by a cosmonaut traveling what amounted to a modified intercontinental ballistic missile. Instruments tracked his progress to a height of 186 miles, at which point the transmission suddenly interrupted. The rocket seemingly disappeared, and cosmonaut was never heard from again. That man's name was Alexei Ladovsky.
This is based on the Lost Cosmonaut conspiracy. Have you heard of it before? So basically what he said, that before Russia's successful attempts, the United States monitored that they had several missile launches or like station or where you satellite launches into space that historically there was never anyone on. They're like, no, they didn't do stuff. There were animals that were sent, like, you know, like at the dog and stuff. but right between like the animals and people, they just sent stuff up there. So the conspiracy is they were sending people up. Every time they died, it was covered up until eventually Gagarin lived, and then they publicized him as the first. So the idea being they sent a bunch of people into space to just die. So it's working off that. A series of gasps rose from the small crowd. I could feel my heartbeat thumping away in my temple. None of this made sense.
Now I hope to God that the voice coming through those speakers really is Ladovsky, and that we can bring him back to Earth with a hero's welcome. But all my instincts, as well as the intel we've managed to gather, are telling me otherwise. While there are some obvious similarities between the disappearance of Ladovsky in 1957 and yesterday's disappearance of Mir, we all know that correlation does not imply causation. We must all try to keep level-headed, to remain rational, and rely on scientific training in trying to unravel this mystery. I cannot call in any more assistance, as that would only open the door to more leaks of information. So, people you see around you here in this room are going to have to be the ones to figure this out.
He paused for a moment as we each looked around the room. It was only half as full as it had once been at the height of the program. My mouth felt very dry as Koptev continued.
To solve this puzzle, I'm going to need 100% effort and dedication from every single one of you, and it will not be easy. As far as I'm concerned, the events of the last 24 hours represent a total paradigm shift to all the previous understanding of physics and astronomy. So I want you to toss Occam's razor out the window, because the premises of which we base reality have changed. As such, all possible explanations are on the table, even the seemingly improbable. No hypothesis should be discarded without thorough examination. This is a scientific discovery as its purest. This is what the Russians were born for. It goes without saying that a lot more than the fate of one cosmonaut is at stake.
Odd silence filled the room as the gravity of the situation settled on each of us. My chest felt heavy and my throat tight. Director Koptev took a seat and Markov, the head of tracking and communications, took his place center stage. Central screen changed to the familiar image of the Mir space station.
This is the highest resolution image of Mir we have from before the anomaly. Captured about 15 minutes prior to disappearance.
He said in a hoarse smoker's voice.
And here is an image of Mir currently.
The picture changed over to one that looked superficially similar, though something was clearly off. A few moments later, the screen switched again, now showing both images side by side. After only a few seconds of studying, the difference quickly became apparent. In the newer image, the coloration of the space station was far darker, almost as if coated in a layer of soot. Scratches and dents covered its surface where there had been few previously. Many of the solar arrays were broken and twisted, and some of the modules showed cracks and other signs of wear. A few were even missing. This was clearly a very changed space station from the one that had disappeared the day before. The other thing that stuck out to me were the windows, clear and reflective in the first image, completely darkened in the second, as if someone had taped black construction paper to the inside of each of them. Markov continued on to introduce another of the many mysteries confronting us. After reappearing, the station's internal clock seemed to be malfunctioning. The time was still correct, but the date now read March 20th, 2045, 44 years into the future, and the exact same length of time from Ladevsky's disappearance in 1957 to today. Could that possibly be a coincidence? Perhaps, but the sinking feeling in my gut told me that it was not. Either the computer was malfunctioning, or Mir had really been somewhere else for 44 years, while only 24 hours had passed here. Thought still makes me shudder to this day. Markov went on to highlight a few more strange occurrences. First, the life support system, which had been shut down for months since there was no one left on board, was found to be engaged and operating when Mir reappeared. Something else up there was breathing, be it Ladovsky or something else. Furthermore, if the man on Mir really was Ladovsky, how could he possibly know how to activate the life support system? Technology in 1957 was extremely primitive compared to what it is up there on the space station now. There's no way he would have been able to access a computer system and navigate the complicated process to manually engage life support. Secondly, the cameras and microphones used for video communications, which were in working order before the anomaly, had either been deactivated or were malfunctioning. Getting these back online as soon as possible would be a top priority for my communications team. After this, Markov took a seat, and Kovlev, my communications team member who worked at the terminal next to me, was called up front. His face was white as chalk, his forehead beaded with sweat, and his hands and legs were shaking as he stood before the control room.
I have spoken at length with the one calling himself Oleski Lodovsky. He is coherent, rational, and articulate, though he seems just as confused about this situation as we all do, and wants to come home. He claims to have no memory of how he got onto space station or of anything from the last 44 years. He says his last memories are crossing into space on a rocket in 1957 and then waking up aboard Mir today.
Kovlev paused to take a sip from a bottle of water resting on the podium. His hand was shaking so violently that he struggled to get the cap off.
Something about the way he said this made me doubt his sincerity. So I went back and double-checked the recording, and something strange stood out to me. Each time Ledovsky would answer a question, there were several moments of silence and static, and upon further review, I detected that he was keying and realizing his radio transmitter in rapid succession before speaking.
He paused again, wiping his glasses on his shirt.
I soon recognized this as Morse code, and, well, here is what was transmitted.
The screen above him changed to a white background with the following stark black text. Translation of the Morse code. The smiling ones are with me. The smiling ones are here. Do not trust the smiling ones. Don't tell them you know. They will hurt me if they know. That's the end of part 1. Are you just looking?
What? It's
Harry,
freaky.
What?
And I would eat my words and say that the smiling one's bed at the end made it really scary. Because before I was like, I don't know what the smiling one's titled, but I don't know.
What's got you in this mood? You're being stupid sarcastic right now, and I don't know why.
I legitimately really like this.
I don't believe you.
I like it a lot. He's doing the Morse code there, and that's a fun twist at the end.
These are all gimmicks you wouldn't like. I don't know what character you've adopted.
Do you not like it?
I'm enjoying it so far.
I am too.
No, you're not. This isn't how you act when you enjoy things. When you enjoy things, you sit over there and you're like, oh, this rules. Yeah, this is sick. Yeah, it's not. You're not like, no, that was scary. That was really scary. That was cool. Like,
I thought that this was good, and I'm excited to see what happens next.
okay.
Because I can't tell if the people doing Morse code are the smiling ones or not.
Okay. Well, I think it's interesting. So
Or
far.
do you think that he's in a parallel universe and he's able to talk with us right now? Like it's static. Like he's there, but he's not. You know what I mean? Like he's still existing in an alternate timeline or something.
No, to me, this sounds like gun to your head kind of thing. Like they're around him, making him talk and answer questions, but he's trying to get a warning out, I think.
Interesting. This video is sponsored by our partners at Factor. Fall is here. Between the kids being back in school and the days getting shorter, your routine is getting busy. Plus, the holidays are upon us, and all that makes it hard to stay on top of your eating habits. Thankfully, Factor has got you covered. Factor powers your day, sun up to sundown, with nutritious breakfast or on-the-go lunches and premium dinners. In just 2 minutes, you can heat, eat, and enjoy. Each week, you can choose from 65 different menu options, and you are sure to find something you like. And now you can go to global with their introduction of Asian-inspired meals. Try bold flavors from China and Thailand. Or get their new Mediterranean diet options packed with protein and good-for-you fats. 97% of customers say that Factor has helped with them live a healthier life. And with options like Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, and Vegan, it's pretty easy to see why. And the best part of Factor is there's no prep work, no grocery lines, and virtually no cleanup. Eat smart at factormeals.com/creepcast50 off and use code creepcast50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code creepcast50 off at factormeals.com/creepcast50 off. Creepcast50 off. Creepcast50 off. Creepcast50 off. Creepcast50 off. 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Creepcast50 off. Get delicious ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Creepcast50 off. Offer only valid for new Factor customers. Code qualifying auto-renewing subscription service. Display URL and promo code on screen, and as this read. Outro. Thank you to Factor for sponsoring the video. And now back to the episode. Creepcast 50% off. Creepcast 50% off. Creepcast 50 off.
I want to take a quick moment to thank today's sponsor, Ridge Wallet. That's because Ridge has some of the most durable and stylish wallets on the market. But now, Ridge has taken their game-changing wallet and made it even better. And they've done that with the new Ridge 2.0. Ridge 2.0 wallets are now 10% lighter, giving it the perfect balance of form and function. And plus, the wallets are more modular with improved cash straps and money clips. And the overall improved surface design gives it a sleek look. The wallet holds up to 12 cards, which I don't know a lot of people that need more than that, and you can get it however you want because the 2.0 comes in over 50 colors and designs, including pro sports and college teams. And whatever you choose, Ridge has their built-for-life warranty, so if your wallet's ever lost or stolen, they've got you covered. And for a limited time, Ridge is having a huge Black Friday sale. So right now you can head to ridge.com to get up to 47% off. That's right, up to 47% off your Ridge purchase. After your purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them, and if you remember to use code Creepcast, we'd certainly appreciate it. Thank you so much to Ridge for sponsoring the show. We are now back to the episode. Part 2. I read those words and immediately felt ill. I made it to the lavatory just in time to vomit a thin gruel of cigarette butt flavored coffee into the sink. After washing my sick out of the basin and splashing my face with cold water, I looked into the mirror. My face was pale and haggard. Large bags had formed under my bloodshot eyes. It was the face of a man who had been working for over 24 hours straight. I remember having, during that surreal moment, lost in reflection, a vague presentiment that things were about to get much worse and much stranger. If I had known just how horrifying the next 60 hours would be, I would have gladly accepted termination and incarceration. It's been worth it, not to know what I know now. I left the bathroom and made my way back to my station. Through the glass window on the opposite side of the room, I could see a small group of directors arguing in CopDev's office. An uneasy quiet had settled over the mission control room, punctuated by mouse clicks and the clacking of keyboards. Each operator I passed avoided eye contact, either completely focused on the tasks they had been assigned, or doing an excellent job staring at the screen and faking it. Gossip and idle talk are strongly discouraged by the Russian Space Agency. When I arrived back at my terminal, I looked over to see Yakovlev hugging his elbows to his chest and staring vacantly into space. His chair had been pushed back from the desk, and he reclined, stretching away from the radio transmitter resting there, as if it were a snake coiled to strike.
What did I miss?
Yes, snapping him from his trance, he looked over at me through cloudy eyes.
No more Morse code so far, but Ludovsky has been pleading for rescue non-stop. It was really starting to get to me. I told him that we are currently discussing the best way to get him off Mir. Then I had to mute him. There's seriously something off about that guy. Yeah, no kidding.
They muted the transmission?
I think they muted, maybe themselves. Yeah, or even his transmission, maybe.
Yeah. Well, if it's his transmission, it's like you need to listen to his transmission. I mean, what if he's like, oh my gosh, and like...
they're probably just freaking him out. He's probably just incessantly being like, okay, come get me.
Yeah.
Get me. That kind of thing.
Yeah. The door to Koptev's office was closed, but the argument inside had grown heated, and I could just make out a few words, all of them harsh. Through the glass, I could see Markov gesturing angrily and occasionally pounding a fist on the desk. Koptev sat calmly at his desk, hands clasped in front of him.
So is this what you think they're discussing in there? How to get Ludovsky back to Earth? From what I can gather, this is precisely what Assistant Director Ivanov wants. I heard him yelling something about Ludovsky being a national treasure and a hero of the Soviet Union. He thinks immediate rescue is the only option, and that we can figure out who, what, and why later on. Once Ludovsky is safely back on solid ground.
This guy who's been up there 40 years, that's a hero.
Have they even questioned, like, shouldn't he be, like, super old?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's what I'd say. Shouldn't you be, like, 100?
Shouldn't this guy be old and also have starved to death, 43 years ago? Shouldn't that guy not be alive? Yeah. I rolled my eyes, though I honestly hadn't expected any other reaction from the assistant director. Ivanov had been a cosmonaut himself in the 80s. Had even resided on Mir for a few months. He was a fiery and passionate man with very traditional values, the type to yearn in secret for a return to the greatness of the USSR. Now, close to retirement, he had been skipped for the job of director in favor of the younger and more level-headed Koptev. Ivanov bitterly resented this fact. He must have seen this as an opportunity to upstage Koptev and as a possible propaganda victory. In Ivanov's mind, rescuing Ludovsky would open the door to the mysteries of the universe Russia would be the first to step through the vanguard into the unknown.
I take it that Markov has other ideas.
I asked. The head of trafficking and communications was standing in the office, now screaming and pointing at Ivanov, shaking with fury.
Quite an understatement. I never thought of Markov as a superstitious man, but he seems to think that there is something sinister and possibly supernatural going on up there. He's asked Koptev to cut off all communication with Mir and proceed with deorbiting as planned. He wants to let the station burn with Ludovsky still on? Still on it? Cover this up like nothing happened?
I asked. Yakovlev gave a solemn nod.
And what about Koptev? Where does he stand? You know as well as I that the director is a cautious man. I think he is weighing out his options and will try to gather more information before making a decision. There is so much about this that cannot be rationally explained, but I think Koptev believes Ludovsky has gone mad.
Conversation was interrupted by Koptev poking his head out of his office. He spoke loudly so the entire room could hear.
I want all personnel except communications department to put the hold on their current tasks. Spend the next half hour researching the smiling ones. Scour government records, historical archives, the internet, and anywhere else you can think of for any reference to that phrase. Communications, I want your full attention to restoring our visual link to the space station. I want to see what's going on out there. I will expect reports in 30 minutes.
He shut the door and the arguing inside resumed. Kovlev and I made eye contact for a fleeting moment and then returned to our terminals and got to work. Half hour later, we were once again gathered in a semicircle with Koptev, Markov, and Ivanov standing in the middle beneath the central screen. Each department reported their findings, but all were variations of the same theme. There were no substantial mentions of the smiling ones to be found. I like how he steps out of the office and he's like, I need you guys to go to Google, libraries.
Everyone, log into Wi-Fi and use Ask Jeeves for smiling one.
Remember, Wi-Fi password is Russia #1, but the number is NO and then period and the hashtag #.
Everyone go to Bing, turn safe search off. Type in smiling one, if not that, print out newest image. You know what I mean.
You'll know what I mean. Koptev, clearly frustrated, turned to the communications department, and it fell to me to act as spokesperson. I stood up from my desk and faced the director. I could feel the eyes of every person in the room crawling over me. My left leg was shaking involuntary.
Sir, I have some good news as well as some strange news. The good news is we have fully restored the visual link to the space station. Mir and all cameras are now active.
A subdued cheer went up in the room. I waited for it to recede and then leaned over and pressed a button on my terminal. The main display at the front of the room changed into a black screen separated by crisscross gray lines, each labeled with a different location on the space station and each completely dark.
The strange news is that every camera on Mir seems to be blocked or covered by something. My guess would be black electrical tape.
Koptev and Markov exchanged a look, while Ivanov stared at the screen confused. After a few moments, he turned to me, his neck glowing crimson under his collar.
You are certain the cameras are active? There hasn't been a mistake?
I'm certain of it, sir.
Okay. Excellent work, communications department. We will take that under advisement. Anyone else have anything to report?
Said Director Koptev. A man from the life support department stood up and cleared his throat.
Director, I've been going over the data for the life support systems and I'm running into some inconsistencies. First, though the station's internal clock says 44 years have passed, it appears that the life support system remained deactivated the entire time. In fact, they were only reactivated the moment of Mir reappeared in low Earth orbit. Secondly, though the electron oxygen generator is activated and working as intended, there is something very strange about the numbers coming from the Vodkov carbon dioxide scrubbers. They basically aren't doing anything. There is no carbon dioxide in the air, only oxygen. Either there is a malfunction in the Vodkov data collection system or whatever is up there isn't breathing.
Markov finished his sentence, glaring at Koptev, his eyes full of fire.
I don't like this, sir.
Stop being so superstitious, Markov,
said Ivanov.
You're like an old provincial peasant woman making the sign of the evil eye. Pah! There clearly must be a malfunction in the unit. It's the only rational explanation. Besides,
A national hero is up there. He is alone and afraid, and not in his right mind. It is our duty to rescue him. It must be our first priority.
Koptev's face was blank and hard as stone. He gave each man a dead-eyed look, which silenced any further bickering.
Men and women of Roskomos, it appears we have reached an impasse. None of us have any idea of what happened to Mir or how Ladovsky got aboard. I will not risk bringing this man back to Earth without first understanding what has happened to him. So, we have but one option left. We must speak to Ladovsky again, and we must ask him directly. Who are the smiley ones? I know the message requested we are not to bring it up, but I see no other choice. I must know what we are dealing with. Simply a deranged man who wants to come home, or something else.
They're like, hey, what's the smiling ones? And he just gets like eviscerated. It's like, well, that was a bad idea.
Well, that was probably kind of
Well,
bummer.
we shouldn't have done that. My bad. Do you know what, guys? On me.
Seriously, my bad.
He paused for a moment and looked around the room, meeting the eyes of anyone brave enough to look up. Finally, he turned towards our station.
Yokolov, you've already developed a rapport with Ladovsky, so I will ask you to continue speaking with him. I want the rest of you searching for clues to a possible explanation. You are free to chase down any leads you come across. Now, let's get to work. Cosmonaut Ladovsky, this is Roscosmos Mission Control. How do you read? Over.
Anxiety and exhaustion had turned Yakovlev's face an ashy gray color. As he held his headphone to his ears, I could tell he was fighting to keep from shaking. Koptev, Markov, Ivanov, and the other directors were huddled behind his chair.
I read loud and clear, Roskomos. Good to hear your voice again. Please, tell me you have a rocket on the way to get me here. To get me. I'm ready to feel soil under my feet again.
His voice was calm and steady. He seemed in high spirits.
We're still working on that Ladovsky. It's quite a complicated process and will take some time to organize. In the meantime, there are a few questions I'd like to ask you.
There was no response but dead static. Yakovlev looked to Koptev, who nodded for him to continue.
Cosmonaut, I need you to tell me where you have been for the last 44 years.
Ladovsky gave an exasperated sigh.
Mission Control, I've already told you I have no idea. Last thing I remember was escaping Earth's atmosphere on my rocket in 1957, and then waking up here today. There is nothing else. Okay, Cosmonaut. Then how about you help us better understand your situation by checking on the visual communication system? There seems to be something blocking the camera, and can you find it on the console in front of you and remove the obstruction?
Several moments of silence followed before the radio crackled back to life.
No. I'm sorry, Mission Control. There are many buttons and lights here that I don't understand. I don't see any camera.
I like how the explanation's like, you know me, I'm a boomer.
You should not have put so many flashing lights.
Like all the cameras are visibly taped up, and
Yeah.
he's like, oh, I'm a klutz.
That's weird. I don't know what this is.
Markov gave a derisive snort. We all knew that the camera was in the direct center of the terminal where Ladovsky sat. Very clearly labeled and easy to find, even for someone from the 50s. Yakovlev looked again to the director, who nodded for him to continue. Yakovlev took a deep breath and keyed the mic.
Cosmonaut Ladovsky, who are the smiley ones?
Instantly, the mission control room was filled with a shrill, inhuman screech. Impossibly loud and high-pitched. It felt like a hot drill burrowing into both of my temples. Underneath the shriek was a continuous stream of rapid mechanical clicks, like a damaged hard drive trying to boot up. I immediately felt nauseous. I watched as Yakovlev ripped the headphones from his head and the directors covered their ears. After 10 agonizing seconds, the line went silent. I still heard and felt the noise reverberating in my head, and I rubbed my ears with the palms of my hands.
What the hell was that?
Screamed Markov, hands cupped over his ears. The radio cracked and sputtered, and then Ladovsky's voice returned, now high and panicky.
What? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard of that. I have no idea. Just please get me out of here. I don't like it here. I just want to go home, please.
He pleaded on the verge of tears.
Calm down, Cosmonaut. I need you to identify the source of that noise.
Said Yakovlev, who was yelling like a deaf person.
Unknown. What noise? I don't hear anything on my end. There's nothing. Just please get me out of here. Listen, Ladovsky, there's nothing to be afraid of. We are trying to help you. We received the Morse code you sent. You need to help us understand what your message meant so that we can help you.
A fucking dumbass.
What was the secret message you tried to send? The thing you don't want anyone to hear. What was that about? I like how they're like, what about the smiling one? Like the loudest noise ever. And they're like, so yeah, those. That
was weird.
Ones.
What
Yeah.
about the smiling ones?
That was weird. Did you hear that? Ladovsky's like, no, I don't. What? Huh?
I'm winking. Comrade, I'm winking.
When Yakovlev let go of the transmitter, Ladovsky's voice came screaming over the speakers, now fraught with terror.
No, I have no idea how they know. I didn't say anything. I didn't send any message. I said it. I have no idea what they're talking about. Please, you have to believe me.
Now he was groaning.
Oh, no. No more, please. Please, no more.
The line went dead for several minutes. The directors looked around the room in silence, avoiding eye contact. Finally, Yakovlev said what we were all thinking.
Is it just me, or is this guy like a total pain in my ass?
The actual line he says is pretty...
Is it just me, or did it sound like he was talking to someone else?
Wow. Incredible detective work from the commander.
God, your intuition is amazing.
Is it just me, or when he turned and said, I didn't hear that, and then said, no, I don't know how they know, no.
Someone there with him on the space station?
Before anyone could answer, the radio clicked on and he was back.
Mission Control, Ladovsky here. I wish I could help you, but I have no idea what you're talking about. Perhaps once I have my feet back on the ground and some food in me, I'll remember more. Any word on my rescue mission?
Buddy got turned into a stick puppet. But they got their hand up him right now, just talking. What's funny is we never see it, which I will say the smiling ones at the beginning were kind of like, I see a lot of smiling faces that could be kind of cheesy, but the fact we don't see anything is fun.
Yeah.
Makes it more inventive. But we don't see what's happening when he's like, no, I don't know. Please, no more. We don't see it. So for all we know, it could be like they've like got a little tiki bar and they're making him like dance. Like they pull.
This is what's on the space station with Ladovsky.
That's just behind him at the chair. That has to have a little astronaut helmet on. Of course.
And he put an astronaut helmet on him.
And so he's got that and staying behind him. When he heard like they make him pull up and they're bringing him to the dance floor, he's like, no, please. It's been 44 years. Kovlev picked up the transmitter to respond, but Koptev grabbed his wrist and stopped him. The static was interrupted by a series of long and short clicks. I grabbed for my pen and began to write down the Morse code message, which reads, "Do not let." But that was as far as I got. The message was cut off by the screeching of that same shrill, piercing tone, louder this time. The mechanical clicking was there again, but was now accompanied by a deep, wobbling bass note. The frequency of the wobble increased, faster and faster, like the spinning of a giant coin, the volume rising. The screech pierced through my brain like hot iron, and I could feel the bass in the pit of my stomach and all the way down into my testicles. It felt like I had been kicked there. My stomach turned over and I could taste the bile rising in my throat. I looked around the room and found I was far from the only one experiencing this. Everyone was covering their ears. Some had grabbed waste baskets to vomit in. Others leaned back in their chairs, eyes rolled back in their skulls. I was vaguely aware of one other noise. Somewhere in the blackness of space, Ladovsky was screaming. Ladovsky tried to say something. They're like, wah, 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 wah. Yeah, just decimated.
Yeah.
So that's the end of part 2. Now on to part 3. I awoke with a thin, coppery taste in my mouth and a throbbing headache above each eye. The signal must have cut off at some point, though I have no memory of this happening. For the briefest moment of bliss, I thought I was home in bed, safe and comfortable. My greatest worry, the inevitable cry of the alarm clock. Then I rolled over and couldn't find my pillow. When I tried to look for it, I woke up and found myself face down on my desk. I hadn't slept in so very long. I wanted so badly to close my eyes and drift away to the "Give me the beat, boys, free my soul."
Wanna get
Lost in your rock and roll and drift away.
Ladovsky.
All To pretend this wasn't happening, but it was, and self-deception would get me nowhere. There's a job to be done. By God, I was going to do it. What a fool I was. Should have stayed asleep. I shook the cobwebs from my mind and rose from the desk, trying to ignore the piercing ring in my ears. Looking around, I could see other Roscosmos operators and engineers coming to similar predicaments. Some wiping vomit from their mouths with the back of their hands, others massaging their necks or temples.
Is everyone okay? Is there anyone injured?
Came the loud voice of Director Coptiv, clear but strained like an out-of-tune instrument. Scattered confirmations echoed throughout the room. I was about to attest my own well-being when I happened to glance over at Yakovlev and stopped short, his forehead resting on the keyboard in front of him, and the headphones he'd been wearing to communicate with Ladovsky were still covering his ears. I could not immediately tell if he was breathing, but he definitely wasn't moving. I rushed to his side and peeled off the headphones. A thin stream of blood trickled from each of his ears, forming small pools on the desk. Tenderly, I lifted his head, cradling it in my hands and calling his name. His eyes were closed and blood dripped from his nostrils. After a few moments, his eyelashes fluttered and his eyes opened, but they were distant and opaque as if he didn't see me at all, as if he were in a dream state off at some distant wonder. His face was blank, loose, and emotionless, except for his mouth, which was curled up into a large, toothy, and humorous grin. He didn't speak nor seem to hear me at all. I screamed for a medic, but what I got were two intelligence agents in charcoal-colored suits. They lifted Yakovlev from the chair by his elbows and led him from the room. He wafted between them, grinning and dreamlike, in the direction of the medical facility. The last time I would ever see him. With Yakovlev out of the picture, the task of manning the radio fell to me. Markov tried to make the burden upon himself, but Koptev was having none of it.
I'm sorry, Markov. I admire your tenacity, but we each have our roles to play. And as a department head, your role is supervising our department members and providing advisement to the director.
When Markov continued grumbling, Koptev turned to me.
Will you serve your country and complete the assigned task with vigor and professionalism? Yes, I will.
I replied automatically. The product of decades of training. Even as I spoke these words, my brain was screaming. No, I won't. Let me go. Leave me in peace. But it was too far, too late for that. Turned back to Markov.
Would you deny him the chance to serve Russia and fulfill his duty? No, I suppose I cannot.
Rasped Markov, speaking to Koptev, but locking eyes with me. He turned to follow Koptev. I swallowed hard and placed the headphones over my ears, but Markov turned back and snatched them off my head.
No more headphones,
He said to Koptev.
He can hear what the rest of us hear on the overhead speakers well enough, and I won't lose another man in my department to whatever is up there.
Koptev nodded his approval and added,
Cut the audio feeds as well. I don't want to hear that noise or anything else from the cursed space station until we're good and ready for it. Ludowski will just have to stay iced for a while until we clear a few things up.
Could have kissed him for that. I was not ready for this shit. Then the pair turned and walked off, continuing their rounds, checking for injuries among the operators. That's kind of cool that the guy that had headphones on just dies. Just
Yeah, he's smiling now.
Yeah.
The smiling one.
He says a humorless grin that almost feels like his face is just stretched. Yeah, like it's been pulled rather than... It's kind of the... You're actually frowning when you do it that way. Because the top of your mouth's going down. That's closer.
What if it was like the AVGN mouth? I love that. You just can't see any of his teeth ever, so he's just like...
Did you
This
like
thing's a fucking diarrhea shit sandwich.
Did you like AVGN or the Nostalgia Critic better?
I've never watched any of them. I didn't have internet until I was in college, so I missed that whole wave of stuff.
I watched Nostalgia Critic a lot. I remember.
Did you like this? Which one's he?
He would do movie reviews, but like it would always be gags about like he'd get really mad over like minute details and stuff like that. And it was like more comedy.
Was he the one with the red tie?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's him.
I've
Doug
seen
Walker.
him.
He's also, what I like about him is like he's still around. And a lot of those older guys have got like real butthurt about not being like as popular as they thought they would and stuff. But every time I see Doug, he's just like, he has a good humor about it. Like on an episode of SpongeBob, they made fun of him. They had a character like wear the red tie, and like the joke was he lived in his mom's basement and he was like really upset over something that didn't matter. So Doug posted a video of him watching that and like he was heartbroken, and he's like, oh, and he pulls out his phone and calls AVGN and goes, SpongeBob doesn't like you. Like
That's
he can't
pretty good.
process criticism about himself. But he's a good sport
That's
about
cute.
it. So.
Yeah. Hey, this episode is sponsored by Tushy! Tushy's a luxury bidet that your bathroom has been missing. Over 2 million butts love Tushy, and yours will too. It wets my asshole and it makes it clean. This holiday season, give the gift of clean with one of Tushy's premium bidets. Things can be pretty messy in our bathroom, and that's why I use Tushy. We have them installed at the studio and in our bathrooms in my house. It's awesome. Using clumps and clumps of toilet paper is gross and honestly pretty wasteful. People who have made the switch up to Tushy use up to 80% less toilet paper. And with less toilet paper means less clogged toilets and less gross bathroom experiences. The other thing I really like about Tushy is that it's really easy to use. It takes no time to install and no additional plumbing or power tools needed. Restore balance to your bathroom and get the luxury bidet everyone's talking about. Tushy. Remember, a-hole is only a naughty word if you wipe. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code Creepcast at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com with promo code Creepcast. Thank you to Tushy for sponsoring this episode. Now back to the episode.
After confirming there were no other major injuries, Koptev appeared at the podium up front once more. The room fell silent. He began the greatest motivational speech I would ever bear witness to.
It goes without saying that we are all experiencing something completely unique in our species' history. It is in my personal opinion that we are in communication with some kind of undiscovered life form. If this is true, it will forever change our understanding of the universe and alter the future path of humanity. Whatever these smiling ones are, we can all attest to the fact that this is first contact. If that's really what's going on here, has been less benevolent than we might have hoped. Regardless, our job as scientists remains the same. Not to have opinions and beliefs, but to provide proof. I have asked so much of you already, but now I must ask for more. We need to figure out what we are dealing with here. We need more information. We need proof. But the fate of the human race may depend on it.
The room was silent, the atmosphere gravid with the seriousness of the task at hand.
I want the communications team to focus on analyzing that sound, but do not listen to a recording directly. We've all seen what that can cause. The rest of you, keep searching for any clues that might tell us who these smiling ones are, where they come from, or what they might want. It's about time we finally catch a break. I put this in your capable hands.
He smiled warmly.
I'm counting on you, and I'm proud of every one of you. There's no other team in the world I'd rather be working with than the one I see before me here today.
So, analyze we did. Breaking the noise down, searching for similarities in the sound wave patterns to know sounds from Earth, comparing the frequency and amplitude to mysterious recordings collected during various natural disasters and from the deep ocean and outer space. We worked for hours, all for naught. Nothing even came close. The sound was completely alien, unlike anything anyone had ever heard or produced. It was more complex than anything we had even considered possible. The noise defied our very understanding of sound waves altogether. We had been affected by ultrasound and infrasound frequencies far beyond the range of what was previously thought possible, but we had all heard it and experienced the reaction. Denial was not an option. Others had better luck. Via confidential maneuvering by the Russian Foreign Intelligence Agency, we were able to obtain from the United States Space Surveillance Network higher quality satellite-based images of the exact moments Mir disappeared and reappeared. For once, the Yankee spying actually benefited Russia, and the results were stunning. From these new angles, we discovered something previously overlooked. At the exact instant of vanishment, something had appeared in the path of the space station which momentarily blocked out the dim light from distant stars in the background. The image showed nothing directly behind Mir except absolute blackness. The same thing occurred at reappearance. The images were taken at a high frame per second rate, and in a few of those frames, we could actually see the space station partially obstructed by this void, as if it were disappearing into whatever was there in the darkness, like a photo of a diver disappearing into a pool. Various hypotheses were tossed around, but all kept coming back to the same explanation: a theoretical phenomenon known as a wormhole, or something akin to it. Till this time, Wormholes, tunnel-like structures connecting two separate points of space-time, though congruent with Einstein's general theory of relativity, had remained purely hypothetical. Now, here we sat, an entire room of physicists and scientists, staring at possible evidence of an actual wormhole, excitement and terror bundled together into a peculiar knot of emotion. There are a few different theories on wormholes. Some believe they connect together two vastly distant points in space, perhaps billions of light years apart. Others propose a linkage of the same place in space at two different times. Still others advocate of the multiverse theory, propound the idea of wormholes connecting a point in our universe to another point in a completely alternate universe. Any of these seemed a possible explanation for our anomaly. Though the potential evidence was exhilarating, the fact that it had appeared in the exact same location twice in the span of 24 hours implied that the wormhole had been controlled or even manufactured by some kind of intelligence. A sinister prospect given the events that had transpired since Mur's reappearance. There was one little problem with our wormhole theory, however. Unlike a black hole, in which the event horizon, a boundary in space-time beyond which events cannot be observed, prevents light from escaping due to gravitational pull, a wormhole would not produce an event horizon. Peering through the mouth of a wormhole, more of a 3D sphere rather than a 2D hole, should reveal to us what is on the other side. For if matter can pass through, then so can light, though distorted by the curvature of space in the wormhole. All of our theoretical models visualize a wormhole as something similar to a bubble in space, with intense light radiating from inner rim of the mouth, quickly dimming as our view moves towards the center, and in the center, we should be able to see right through to the planets, stars, or nebula on the other side. In our case, we saw nothing. No ring of light and certainly no stars. Nothing but an empty field of pitch black. Three possible conclusions can be drawn from this. Either our understanding of wormholes is way off, what we're seeing in the images is not actually a wormhole, but something else altogether, or it is a wormhole, but whatever universe it leads to is a vast, empty void where not even light exists. This, which, if you're looking at it scientifically, would have to be the most likely option if what you're looking at, again, assuming all this actually happened, would be the most likely option. Because the fact that anything exists, according to scientific theory, is a super, super impossibly rare occurrence. They're Big Bang, everything exists as it is. So any other universe a wormhole would peer into would more than likely have nothing, because nothing's far more likely than something, right? But I also don't know if models of the wormholes were that in tune in 1957. Maybe, yeah, it would, because Einstein was around and he theorized it. He also theorized that black holes would be a bending of light, the light would kind of bend in two forms around it. So it looks more like an axis rather than a hole. And then when we got actual footage of black holes now, he was right. So the dude was pretty on his game. Imagine in the 1940s being well, it would bend light and time to look like this. And then almost 100 years later, they're like, yeah, he was right.
Damn.
Yeah, that guy knew what he was talking about.
He was smart.
Man, that guy must have been an Einstein or something. Yeah.
Okay.
It's real convenient that Einstein guy.
I had no idea where that came
It matched
from.
the name.
Yeah.
It's like that scene from The Sopranos when Chris is like, isn't it crazy that Lou Gehrig died of Lou Gehrig's disease?
That's so good.
My favorite.
I love Chrissy.
My favorite Chris joke on that show is after Olivia dies and him and Adriana are high as a kite at Tony's house, and no one will say anything nice about Olivia. And Chris is like, they say that there's never two of the same people. Everybody's unique. But how would they know? Because you'd have to get everyone on the planet to line up and look at all of them. And even then, there could be someone dead. And he goes for 5 minutes. And he's like, the point is. The Tony sister goes, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
The new revelation had produced an atmosphere of excitement in the mission control room, and in Director Koptev especially. Here we few stood, unique among all humans living and past, perched upon the precipice of the utterly unknown. We were living out a scene from the pages of a science fiction novel, except it was reality, a surreal, terrifying, astonishing reality. May have been a bit of a stretch, but by this point, Koptev had thoroughly convinced himself, and in turn all of us, that we had encountered a newly discovered life form, extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional, or otherwise. We couldn't help but feel excitement. This was every astronomer's dream. Any who said otherwise was either lying about their own dream or lying about being an astronomer. At the same time, it was a horrifying prospect for what it meant for us, for our planet, and especially what it meant for Ladovsky. To Koptev, we were on the threshold of a discovery which would alter the destiny of mankind, but among the other directors' opinions of how we should proceed still differed. They began to argue again, passionately and excitedly, not bothering this time to retreat to the confines of the office.
This is our chance!
Yelled Assistant Director Ivanov, brown eyes bulging.
To step out from under the shadow of the United States and take our rightful place as premier among the nations.
His face was flush and beads of sweat stood out of his wrinkled brow.
We'd be fools not to reach out and take it. I propose we send Zoya's capsule to dock with Mir and bring whatever is up there back to Earth and still hold out hope that it really is Ladovsky. But if it isn't, we capture it, examine it, experiment on it, and force it to reveal to us the secrets of the universe. Just imagine it. Russia, the first nation on Earth to make interstellar travel possible via wormhole generation. We would instantly become the greatest nation on the world. No, the universe has ever known. We must do this for the benefit of all mankind and for the glory of Mother Russia.
So I like how Ivanov's so fired up about like getting the guy back and stuff like that. And I understand that's kind of what's motivating what he's saying, like for Russia to be on top. He's near the end of his career, as mentioned. And I get all that. But it's also funny because, like, what are you going to do with wormhole travel? Maybe 200 years from now when we have tech that lets, like, people colonize space and live and travel to far off planets. But it's like, right now, we're going to go through and be like, yep, whole lot of nothing. All right, I'm on my way back.
This is crazy. Total darkness. This
wow,
is great.
I sure hope this works the other way or else. But also, like, I realized I was wrong because Ladovsky's from the 1957, but this space crew's like, what, 2001 it said? Yeah. 2002. So, yeah, I was off with that. They certainly would have wormhole theory. Yeah. Sounds great. A few muffled agreements rose from the assembly. The room was filled with a quiet tension, almost palpable, like a steel wire ready to snap. All eyes turned to Markov, who sat with one leg crossed over the other, and an ironic smile plastered to his face.
Do you have anything to add, Markov?
Asked Koptev.
Yes, Director. I still think it should be destroyed. Do you orbit the space station with Ladovsky still on board? No. I don't think we can risk that. I think we should destroy it while it's still in orbit. I'm not sure how yet. Maybe with a nuke, just to be certain.
So I'm 100% on Koptev's side. Like, just blow it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Immediately.
We've been gone for 44 years, man. We ain't missing you.
Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, it is what...
According to the records, you never died up there. Like, you don't even exist.
Thank you for your assistance, comrade.
Beep. Yep. Yes, no, everything will be fine. Ship on way. A few surprised exclamations rose above the general murmur that followed his remark. Koptev looked at him aghast.
Markov, you cannot be serious. But I am. People have already suffered right here in this room. While whatever is out there still orbits 200 miles above our heads, I think we've only seen a minuscule portion of the damage it might be possible. How many more people might be hurt, or worse, if we bring this thing back to Earth? We understand nothing about it, sir. Nothing. Ivanov may be right, and by capturing it, it may open a door to a whole new world of discovery. But once the door is opened, who knows what might walk through from the other side? The risk is too great. We may well be signing the death certificate of the entire planet, and welcoming our own destruction. I say we destroy it immediately and remove that possibility.
Whispered approvals rose from a few of the gathered. Koptev and Markov locked eyes. Markov's smile gone now, replaced by a look of iron determination.
I understand your sentiment, Markov, I do. But I will not be responsible for firing any weapon into space, especially a nuclear weapon. How would we explain that to the rest of the world? Who knows what other repercussions there might be?
Markov let out a frustrated grunt and crossed his arms. Koptev continued.
Besides, Ludowski may still be alive up there. If there's still a chance to save him, however slim, we are obliged to try.
I don't think you are. I don't think you have to try at all, actually. Again, on paper, that guy is dead. He was never even up there. So Ivanov was beaming.
So what? We go with Ivanov's plan and invite chaos onto our planet? No. We will still need more data to make a decision. We need to know who the smiling ones are. Thank you for your input, gentlemen, but I believe I have a plan.
The grin on Ivanov's face twisted into a sneer as he turned back to Koptev.
And what might that be? We contact Ludowski again, but this time we bluff. We tell him we have a Soyuz capsule prepared to launch. We tell him rescue is on its way. Then we see how he reacts.
I feel the color draining from my face. Koptev turned to me.
Think you can handle that?
Forced myself to nod. This is good. I like the decision here. So I'm liking this story. I enjoy it. I feel like there's a few times that, like, honestly, it being titled The Smiling Ones and like the word of The Smiling Ones use is one of the story's biggest faults.
Yeah.
Like, just because
it's too cheesy.
It's too cheesy. And it's good.
It completely cheapens the story.
Yeah, it cheapens the story.
Yeah, I think you could have just literally been like you could have just called it like
they're
could have been them, or it could have just been like I don't know, the Forgotten Space Station, like just anything that was just like something that's just, or it could just be called Mirror.
Yeah, well, I mean, like in the story, like have the guy in there.
Yeah.
They are in here.
I don't think you refer to him as anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a thing of you are wondering the whole time, is there actually someone there?
Yeah.
You know, and you can have him scream to somebody and be like, I didn't tell them anything. And you're like, is he just crazy? I don't know.
But here's the thing, and this is kind of what we like when we had the interview with Dathan. We kind of talked about
Patreon exclusive,
the author of Pen Pal.
It's on Patreon.
It's on Patreon. Listen to us to interview him on Patreon if you want. We were talking about with him is like there's this crossroads between what I want to do and what does well. Because if this was written around like 2014, 2016 area, stuff about like smiling people was killing. It was like,
how new is the story?
I have no idea. But my point is like, if that could have been like a strategic move.
Yeah, being like, oh, I see what you're saying. Where he's like, well, that's the hot thing, right?
That's what sells. That's what people want to read, and maybe that's part of the reason it's successful. And like people are recommending it now because they read it from that. So could be some of that, but for the story, I feel like The Smiling Ones is a disservice to it.
100%.
Because if you take that out, it's a good story.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
I love the simple premise of just thing goes missing, it comes back, and now it's floating, and we have this dilemma of, do we help save somebody? Oh, wait, I feel like literally humanity might be at jeopardy if we let this thing back on Earth, whatever.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And also like how Ivanov is kind of set up as like, he's desperate for something to happen, so he wants to bring this guy back.
Very proud man.
Yeah. It's also like, that was the other thing. I feel like the story could trust itself a little bit more. Like we have that dialogue between our protagonist and then the guy who died, who he was talking to, where they kind of have an explanation about the directors, like, oh, Ivanov says this, Koptev's a man that believes this and stuff like that. But honestly, you don't need that because that's present enough in their dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, also just having a character say, someone Google The Smiling Ones is just...
That was rough. That was rough, yeah. I agree. But
it looks like in 2018, this story was posted in No Sleep in One Best Original Monster 2018.
Okay.
And then in 2020, he expanded it into a novelette, so like kind of a novella length ebook.
Okay, so
I guess it is a little bit more recent.
So 2018, first called The Smiling Ones. That's still around the time I think it was doing well, I would say. Yeah, because I was in high school, coming out of high school. So yeah, I think Smiling Ones probably helped it around that time. So I'll give him some levity there. I give him some levity like I'm some grand jury on it, but I will be merciful to you.
Oh, thank you, Master Isaiah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Darius.
No problem, Darius.
Darius Pilgrim. I sat at Yakovlev's former console with the radio transmitter in hand, steeling myself against the task which lay before me. Someone had cleaned up the bloodstains, thank God. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to continue. I could feel the huddle of directors hovering over my shoulder, staring daggers into my back and waiting breathlessly for me to begin. The room had fallen quiet once more. On the main screen above me, the white numbers and letters indicating timing and positioning of the mirror camera feeds glowed brilliant white against the inky darkness of the background. Took one final deep breath and, bracing myself for the worst, flipped the radio receiver to the on position. The hiss of static filled the room, a warm and comforting sound in comparison to that horrendous otherworldly screech.
This is Roskomos Mission Control. Attempting to reach Cosmonaut Ludovsky. Do you copy? Over.
Nothing. Static.
I repeat, this is Roskomos Mission Control for Cosmonaut Ludovsky. Do you read me, comrade?
More static. Or nothing. I turned to Koptev.
Keep trying. He has to be there. Unless the smiley ones stopped torturing him and finally decided to kill him.
Said Markov bitterly. Koptev opened his mouth to reply. The radio crackled alive.
Affirmative. I read you loud and clear, Mission Control. It has been quite a while. Welcome back. Your voice is different. What happened to Yakovlev?
He is indisposed at the moment.
I'm sorry to hear that, Mission Control. But I hope you might have some good news for me.
Roger, affirmative. I just got off this line with the head of the crew over at Launchpad. They've got the Soyuz rocket all lined up and ready to go. Should be headed your way within T-minus 60 minutes.
Are you serious?
As a heart attack. We'll get the champagne on ice for you down here, comrade. Just get yourself squared away and ready to go. What do you say, are you ready to come home?
The hiss of silence returned. There was no reply.
I bet they're talking to him. Telling him how to respond. Yeah, maybe. Or maybe they're throwing a little party to celebrate our stupidity.
Finally, after what felt like at least a century, it was probably more like 45 seconds. Ludovsky's voice returned.
They want to know.
Transmission cut out momentarily. Koptev and Markov exchanged a glance.
I want to know how long before the capsule arrives.
All said and done, probably just under 2 days before the docking process is complete. Possibly sooner, depending on where in orbit you are when we launch.
Oh, well. Okay, you're really coming.
His voice was thin and confused.
We're really coming.
The line went dead once again for a minute, then two. Soft sound of static purring from the speakers. Then it roared back to life. This time, Ludovsky was shouting, though the transmission was quieter and muffled, as if he was turned away from the receiver.
No, you can't do this. I won't let you do this. I don't care what you do to me. Not anymore. My life is already over. It's been over. I won't let you do this to anyone else.
Followed by complete silence. No static this time. Ludovsky was still keying the mic. I could hear the quiet hum of Mir's oxygen generators in the background. It went on for about 15 seconds, then Ludovsky's voice returned, louder and agitated with an edge of dark humor.
Oh, yeah? That's what you think. There's still one thing left I can do.
And now, the voice was even louder. Ludovsky was screaming directly into the microphone.
You fools, don't do it! Cancel the rocket ship, don't send it! Leave me here! You cannot let them get you hurt!
And then the sound began again, impossibly loud now, impossibly harsh. The white-hot drill in my head turned back on, and it was screeching, piercing, burning, scrambling my brains to paste. I dropped the transmitter to cover my ears, but it seemed to have no effect. Suddenly, a hand shot out and snatched the transmitter from my desk, and then Koptev was shouting into it, screaming over the alien shriek and deep resonance of the bass.
Who are they, Ludovsky? Who are the smiling ones?
And Ludovsky screamed back through a wall of suffering. He screamed to be heard, but also to overcome the agony he was in. His words were quick and panicked.
No, not who, what? They're parasites. They're the opposite of life. The absence of life. They come from this other place. From the horrible other place. They want what we have. They've already taken it from so many. So many. And now they want
voice was fading and gurgling, growing thick as if someone was pouring motor oil down his throat. He struggled through somehow and continued.
Take an offer. Take a night away. Don't let them hurt anyone else. Don't let them come to Earth. Don't let them come to Earth.
Markov grabbed me by the shoulder and shook violently.
Cut the feed! Cut the goddamn feed! No!
Howled Koptev, pushing Markov away.
Not yet! We need more! Just a little more!
He keyed the mic again.
What do they look like, Ledowski? What do they look like? God damn it, I have to know! What the fuck do they look like?
But Ledowski had no words left. He was crying, screaming, howling in pain. The piercing screech grew higher, the bass lower, and the drill in my brain went into overdrive. It felt like my head was about to rip into two right in the middle of my face. Then Ledowski answered without saying a thing. The blackness of the main screen at the front of the room was substituted for a maelstrom of color as the tape covering the camera was ripped away, revealing the most abhorrent scene my cursed eyes would ever fall upon. All right, so for one, you're an excellent voice actor. That was very cool. Good job. Also, that was a very cool segment.
Yeah.
Of them screaming and him like trying to get through, and that little like they've taken it from so many. Like, it says a lot, but not too much, I think, especially when the guy's like, they've taken it from me. And it's like, okay, is that saying Ledowski, or is this something else that's like in the form of Ledowski? These things are puppeting to make him try to, so they can invade another planet or something.
I feel like a lot of people would have done something like, everything's totally fine. Why don't you just come up here and help me already?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like getting like really low and creepy, like, ooh, that's creepy. That seems weird. I like that they kind of took the route of him like just being like, fuck it, I'm already dead.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
They're going to kill me regardless. Cool. I'm not going to take more people with me.
That was a fun surprise I didn't expect.
That was good. And then him like with his final moments ripping off the tape. That's been covering up. That's sick. First thing I noticed was Ledowski's face, the only familiar feature in the bizarre scene before me. He was young, blonde, and probably handsome once. Now his face was distorted, like a newspaper ink image stretched across silly putty. Black tendrils swarmed around the edges of his face, sticking to the skin, tugging at his ears, wrapping around strands of hair and pulling him backwards into the dark mass behind. He tried to speak, his mouth opening and closing like a dying fish, but the invading tendrils squirmed around his lips and snaked down his throat, and all that came out was a sickening gurgle. One orange-clad arm also protruded from the dark writhing mass, and his gloved hand gripped the radio transmitter. As I watched, a dozen black vines worm their way around his wrist and hand, creeping like spilled liquid before tightening like sinew, peeling his fingers from the microphone off one by one till it floated freely in the microgravity of the space station. The piercing sound cut off abruptly, the hot drill in my brain shut off, and the mission control room was bathed in a terrible silence as we watched Ledowski's arms submerge into darkness. So Ledowski used his last minutes to unplug the mic. That's hard. That goes hard.
Unplug the mic and reveal what the thing was.
Yeah, that goes hard. What a G. His shifting eyes were the last thing I saw. Bulging brown irises filled with grim determination one moment, unspeakable horror the next, and then suddenly dead and glassy as he finally let go and surrendered to the void. Ledowski disappeared, absorbed into the squirming darkness behind him. With nothing human left to hold my focus, I had no choice but to turn my attention to the rest of that macabre scene. The space Ledowski had occupied just a moment ago was now filled with a grotesque and faceless monstrosity. It looked like a floating ball of liquid mercury, 3 feet wide and 3 feet tall, but blacker than the darkest night. Its surface seemed to constantly squirm and shift, and it shimmered with rainbow iridescence, like an oil slick on a rain puddle. At least 8 thick tentacle-like appendages extended from its central mass, each wrapped around computer terminals, door handles, ceiling hooks, and other equipment to keep itself in place in the station's microgravity. All over its surface, smaller tendrils appeared and disappeared, wiggling and curling in on themselves. Behind the creature that had once been Ledowski loomed 3 exact duplicates, each devoid of any discernible face. The background was a tangled mess of floating tentacles, weaving through one another and twisting around each other like spaghetti noodles, some attached to equipment in the room, others gripping the first creature as if laying hands upon the shoulders of a troubled friend. Suddenly, all 4 creatures moved as one, squirming squid-like around one another and spreading into a line across the capsule. With a jerk, their attention seemed to snap to the camera in the terminal. Though without faces, it was hard to tell for sure. The scene froze like that for a horrifying moment, and I peeled my eyes from the screen. The Roscosmos mission control room was still and silent, each person petrified in place like a statue, slack-jawed, with eyes locked on the main screen. I turned my attention back to the video feed, and now the core of each creature was bubbling, boiling, churning like the waters of a maelstrom. The center of each opened into a tiny white hole which quickly grew in size, expanding to cover most of the creature's bodies. Then stretching and twisting, each of the holes transformed into a shape I recognized all too well. A smile. No eyes, no ears, no nose, no face, just enormous, empty, inhuman smiles. Then the noise was back. This time, I wasn't hearing it, I was feeling it. It was inside of me, inside my head, and it was coming from them. From their smiles, it was coming from the smiling ones. I tried to look away, but I couldn't. My body felt completely paralyzed. Their smiles were growing, sound was rising, screeching in my head like the billion swarming wings of a demonic locust plague. The drill in my head switched back on, but now the torque was turned up to the highest setting and was joined by the thrum of a jackhammer breaking concrete. It felt like the 2 hemispheres of my brain were being torn apart. I could smell burning electrical wires and taste copper in my mouth. In my peripheral vision, I saw a flurry of movement. The men and women around me, the pride of the Roscosmos State Corporation for Space Activities, were hurting themselves. Some slammed their faces into their desk over and over again until blood poured from broken noses and shattered mouths. Some picked up pens and pencils and violently stabbed themselves deep in the ear canal, then pounded them further in with the palms of their hands. Others gouged their eyes or sawed at their wrists with any sharp object they could find. Then everything faded away until my entire world was a white, hot ball of pain and I lost consciousness. My eyes snapped back open and I stared at the screen. The smiling ones were gone, and in their place were 4 small gray humanoid aliens with buggy black eyes. In my head, I heard 4 distinct voices speaking together.
Let us in.
My vision went dark and I was gone. Then I was back. 4 giant bipedal lizards appeared on screen, oozing dark green slime like... Okay, they're switching forms. I would say the implications that Ladovsky wasn't, but no, he saved him at the end. So anyway. Now 4 giant bipedal lizards appeared on screen, oozing dark green slime like sweat. Black venom dripped from their jaws. Their reptilian eyes stared into my soul and their voices shrieked in my mind.
Let us in.
The tenebrous veil of an unconsciousness folded around me once again. Then I was back. Now 4 angelic beings floated on the screen, translucent but gleaming like the sun around the edges and draped in flowing gowns of a million impossible hues. Their beautiful voices sang a harmony in my head.
Let us in.
A scrim of shadow fell upon me once more and I was gone. Then I was back. Now the inside of the space station was an alien forest filled with a swirling fog of green and gold. Through the mist emerged 4 giant mushrooms. The rubbery skin was a constantly shifting kaleidoscope of psychedelic color explosions. Each swayed and shivered in a primeval dance, followed to the beat of their own secret music. 4 spongy voices sprouted in my brain.
Let us in.
The black curtain fell once more, leaving me in darkness, eternal darkness. Infinite, perfect, timeless, egoless, uncaring darkness. This was the void. This was their home. The universe, if nothing had ever existed. I'd always be here. I'd always be here. Then I was back, but not to Roscosmos Mission Control. I was on Space Station Mir. The noise was gone. The molten javelin of pain in my head had disappeared. 4 human figures stood before me, 3 men and 1 woman, dressed head to toe in the bright orange spacesuits of the early Soviet space program. Through their clear bubble helmets, I could see their countenances. Young, attractive, proud, full of vigor, smiling warmly. I recognized each face, recalling the pictures of the so-called lost cosmonauts that our recent research had turned up. Is that a bear trap for me? Because I said this is based on lost cosmonauts, but it's kind of just based on them.
I would give it to you. Cards there, hold it up.
Yeah. I feel special award. They were Andrei Mitkov, Sergei Shiborin, Maria Gromova, and the last, of course, was Alexei Ladovsky. Smiles on their faces remained. Their lips did not move, yet I could hear their voices in my head, kind and composed.
Let us in. Please, let us in.
If it had been in my power, I think I would have. Then I watched as their smiles grew larger and larger, contorting their faces into massive inhuman grimaces. The skin of their lips and cheeks began to rip and tear away, revealing toothy skeletal grins. Their hair fell out, their skin dripped away, worms crawled from their empty eye sockets. The glass of their helmets shattered, their spacesuits deteriorated and fell away, and the smiles just kept growing. I tried to scream, but my body was still paralyzed. I heard the bones in their jaws snap simultaneously, and the smiles engulfed their entire face, flipping them inside out. I closed my eyes, and in my mind I again heard their voices, now desperate and horrid, chanting.
Let us in. Let us in. Let us in.
Rising into a horrible crescendo. When I opened my eyes, I was back in Roscosmos Mission Control. The writhing, tentacled abomination still filled the main screen. My mind was filled with a horrible cacophony as the 4 voices morphed into 4 million, screaming in 100 alien languages, but somehow all saying the same thing.
Let us in. Let us in.
People around me seemed to be in some kind of hysterical religious ecstasy, some laughing, some weeping, some howling like wolves and tearing their flesh to shreds with their teeth, others seizuring violently in their chairs.
Let us in. Let us in.
Then I heard another voice, this one not in my head, but coming from a little ways behind me. It was the strong, clear voice of Director Koptiv crying out.
Cut the feed! Cut the feed for the love of Mother Russia and everyone you hold sacred! Cut the goddamn feed!
And I tried. My hand reached out for the button on the terminal, which would cut all contact with Mir. It cinched closer, closer, closer. Then it wrapped around a pin laying on the desk. Pressed the button, extending the tip, turned it towards me. I watched in horror as my hand brought the pin slowly towards my face, aiming directly for my eyeball. I was powerless to stop it. My hand felt like it was under someone else's complete control, and it moved closer. Closer, closer, until it was almost touching my cornea, filling my entire field of vision. Then something hit me hard in the side of the head. Stars danced and exploded before my eyes, and I was falling to the floor in slow motion. Somewhere far above me, Markov had pounded the button on the terminal, which cut the video feed. Then he had an officer chair in his hand, smashing the computer terminal to pieces. The main screen went blank. The piercing screech and wobbling bass disappeared, replaced by the weeping and wailing of the injured and dying, begging for help. Markov stood hunched, breathing heavily, still holding the office chair. Koptev was stood next to him, white as a ghost. Ivanov lay dead at his feet in a pool of blood, his throat torn out by his own fingernails. Markov grabbed my arm and pulled me to my feet. I blinked my eyes and surveyed the room. I was met by a scene of bloody carnage that looked more like a battlefield than a mission control room.
Forgive me for hitting you,
Markov whispered. Then he straightened and turned to Koptev.
Now will you believe me, Director? Now will you heed my advice?
Koptev nodded, sadly, his eyes watering.
I'm sorry, Markov. I should have listened. We shall proceed with your first idea. We deorbit Mir as originally planned, and the world knows nothing. We burn them. We burn them all, and pray that is enough. And God help us if it isn't.
March 23rd, 2001, the world watched in wonder as the space station Mir re-entered the Earth's atmosphere near Nadi, Fiji, and disintegrated over the South Pacific Ocean. An official statement from Roscosmos announced that Mir ceased to exist at 5:59 GMT. At the time, Mir was the largest spacecraft ever deorbited, and there were concerns that sizable pieces of debris, particularly from the docking assembly, gyrodynes, and external structure, could survive re-entry. Officials in New Zealand issued warnings to ships and aircraft in the South Pacific, and the Japanese government warned its residents to stay indoors during the 40-minute period when debris would most likely fall. Nothing came of it. Mir is thought to have burned up completely during atmospheric re-entry. Though rumors and speculation abound, no significant debris of the wreckage of Mir were ever recovered. At least, not officially.
And that is the end of the story.
And that's the end of the story. What a cool, so it's based on why did Russia deorbit an actual space station? That's really cool.
That is cool.
That is really sick. I like that. It's a good detail. Okay, so, what did you think of the ending? Yeah. Yeah, I feel kind of the same.
I don't really like the whole smiling motif. I think the whole going crazy thing. I just I don't know. The idea of it, I mean, I like that you swing for the fences and you have this big thing. I just like wonder if there's just ever any way to ever approach these monsters in a different way that isn't just like we all go crazy and we rip out our eyes and we're ripping out our throat. Like, can the horror of just like the inevitable, I guess, just like something, I don't know. So I mean, like, it's Lovecraftian. It's just like the horror of the unknown. Is that enough of this thing of like, instead of having it be like these floating things that are smiling and now I see this alien forest and I can hear all these alien languages. I just wonder, is it more?
They always just kill you.
Yeah, and it's just kill you versus a thing of like, is there something of like, I don't know, even like I like mixing like science with spiritual stuff of like taking your soul, like, oh shit, like it's just like doing something that's different of like these weird aliens that exist out there are actually there because they collect souls, and this is like how we perceive angels, or just something weird, which that's a bad idea. I'm just saying that I've seen that. We've seen it in Event Horizon, the movie, that kind of thing. Like, to me, I was honestly just more freaked out by the idea of like, I guess like government officials making irrational decisions based off like pride.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. And then also just the mystery of being like, I don't know what is on there. What is on there? You know what I mean?
I think at the ending of part 3, it was at its strongest. When Lodowski was on the other end and he was like, don't do it.
Yeah,
like, nuke the
But
station.
then like starting it and it's like, oh, there's black tendrils and he gets pulled in.
I think after he pulls the tape, it loses me.
Yeah, I almost wish it would have been a thing where it's like I pulled it. And I don't think that
what if he starts to pull it but then stops?
I like the idea of him pulling it. I mean, like, for my subjective, like my own opinion, it is always so much more effective in these scenarios to just be like, he pulled the tape and like what I saw was something crazy. And you just like leave it to where it's like, oh my God. Like the more you describe something, the more you're talking yourself out of interest, which also makes it, when you have a satisfying creature, it makes it that much better because you're like, that was awesome. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have that strong basis for something that just like, I mean, really fits that scene, to me, it just like, man, we were going straight up. And immediately in my mind, I was just like, and there it goes.
Yeah.
You know, and I think everything before that, great.
Yeah.
Simple dynamic. You have like all the, people back and forth. You have a bit of a power struggle thing. The idea of like a guy from the 40s and now you have this like rose colored kind of goggle guy being like, oh my God, that's like a nation's hero or something. I think all that's cool. I'm glad they didn't go into the thing of like, we're up here. We always have been. But even like the let us in kind of thing, like even the high pitched screech thing to me is scarier than just having, like, instead of having them say like, let us in, just having like an ear piercing screech where it's like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But it's just like, you can kind of sense it and it's fucking just disturbing. I don't know.
I kind of had the idea, I like the direction when the guy next to him at Mission Control died and it says his face was in a joyless smile. And I thought the implication was like the face, like the skin's being pulled back. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of clever because it's not actually a smile. It just looks kind of like a smile because of like the stretching that happens. Like it's changing biology. So then I had the idea, what if the smiling ones that he's seen up there are like the other dead cosmonauts, like their bodies have been possessed by something, or and even if that's the case, I don't want to see it, but that's just a cool idea I have.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. Yeah. I guess it's just I don't like, to me, even something scary would be like when you fly a certain height in the air, you go in like that black void. You go into like there is no like the space, the moon landing is all fake, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like if you go certain high up, you like enter.
You're
it's
gone.
Like what's I thought that it was other stuff. It's like, no, we have no idea what's being like. It could have been like a reflective dome or something,
roof or something. Yeah.
Like to me, that like that's a more interesting thing of like just like making you question these kind of things. Not that you'd ever like, well, that's bullshit, but it's just the idea of being like, what if that was the case? And it's not. And it's less about. And I love body horror is my favorite thing ever. But in situations like this, just you don't need. I don't think you need that. To me, I was like totally hooked with everything. I started off the podcast being a bit goofy and stuff, but I was bought in over time. And it was unfortunate too, because at first I was sitting there and while we were reading it and it was really good, I was like, oh God, people are going to make me eat my words with this fucking beginning thing of the smiling ones and stuff. Cause I was like, this is good. But then it just immediately, I was like, oh, there it is. It was like kind of like being like, this is a diaper. And you're like, no, this is like a Chipotle burrito. Fuck, it's pretty good. And then you open it, you're like, no, that's shit. This was actually a diaper. I don't know why I thought this was a Chipotle burrito or whatever.
Well, it's like the reason I bring up me thinking about that lost cosmonauts is in my head, I'm like, that's a cool idea. But then the story's like, no. This is what it is. And this is what it is. And this is what it is. And it kept describing it. It's like, okay, sorry, I've something I had fun with, you know.
The beginning of the episode, I talked about that Twilight Zone episode, The Parallel. Awesome. Like, if you guys were interested in this story too, I would really recommend watching that episode. It's fucking great. Literally, the guy goes up and when he lands on Earth, it's like a different world. I forgot the whole hook to it, but basically it's just a thing where it's just off. And it's like he's existing in this world and it like freaks him out so much that he's like, I want to go back up. I want you to fly back up. And like the world that he's in, they're not like evil, but they're like, well, why? It's just like,
it's a little different.
It's very like him just being like, I mentally cannot stand being here kind of thing. Like, it's just, this is not where I'm supposed to be. Very unsettling. I don't know. It's just it's just something with everything that we ever say. And I always say, you know, simplicity is the king. It is like, the more you can just simplify something into just like a simple idea and you don't try to skew it out. Because that's another problem with this is that you have the cool thing of like, well, that's weird. Why did it re-enter? And then it's like, and then also there's like monsters and they like make you do existential, like.
And they smile at you.
If it just would have been that, just focus on the space station thing and don't include the other stuff, I think it would have been awesome.
And conversations between
that being said,
and stuff was very cool.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Great. And it was very well written.
Yep.
And that being said, it's not like this is a total flop or anything.
No, it was good. I mean, obviously people like it a lot. It's very highly acclaimed.
When doing these things, at least for me here, because I'm being, I guess, hard on it, but I would say that it's just, you get done reading it, you're into it, and then it's just that rug pull moment just feels so unsatisfying. So, like, it's just kind of a bummer. Versus a lot of the stuff, I think that like I'll think about it in a positive light, whatever. But is it something where I'm like, oh, I'd want to like revisit afterwards?
Ledowski being at the control panel and like talking to them and they can't see anything, that was awesome. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, like the tape and everything is just weird. But it's also, but then it's like, okay, so then the weird holographic rainbow balls were like, cover up the camera.
Put the electrical tape over the camera.
You know, like it's just shit like that. Or they don't, they're the smartest beings that have existed in like whatever. They don't understand Morse code, but they understand 500 other alien languages. Word.
And they're all, and like they're so smart that he says they are the land without time. They're forever. But I assume at the end when they were transforming every time he woke up, it's like all the different species they've overtaken.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
It's just,
so it's like they've conquested galaxies, and then it's like,
we're the only species
we're definitely sending ships up, and they're like, okay, good, now tell him to.
Yeah. To me, that it's just don't even go there, because that's the problem with a lot of sci-fi horror stuff that I don't like, and I'm not a huge sci-fi guy in general, but it's like even that movie Apollo 18. You ever see that movie Apollo 18?
Yeah.
I fucking hate that movie. Such a cool setup of like astronauts gone wrong, then they went missing, whatever. Horrifying to be like, oh yeah, it was the 60s or whatever, and now we're going up there and these are guys who just didn't make it. The idea of even just being on a spaceship that's like you're gonna crash and die is insane. But then it's like, yeah, there's moon rock aliens.
Yeah, the little bug thing.
Yeah, we can't let you come back to Earth, and it's like, oh yep, the government blew it up. It's just like, can it not just be a thing of them going there and, you know, maybe you do see something. I guess I'm just saying like the aliens and stuff. This is already such a horrifying idea. You don't need the floating tentacle monster to make it scary
enough beforehand. What if the entire thing was Ledowski on the other end, or someone who thinks they're Ledowski or whatever? I mean, I thought where it was going for a bit, once it set up the wormholes of space and time, Ledowski just passed through a wormhole from 1957 to 2001 or 2002, whenever it was, and he is just there, and he's lost his mind, and he's just alone in there, being like, okay, they say they want. I mean, I say I want. And I thought to myself, like, that'd be crazy if this is just an isolated guy up there.
If you just have a crazed man, whatever, and then it's just a thing of like, let's say they do send, oh my God, we'll send up somebody to help you. He's up there. It takes 2 days to get up there. He docks. He comes back. They're like, hey, just seeing how it's going. And it's just Ladovsky who answers. And you're like, where's the other guy?
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing.
That'd
where,
be cool, yeah.
Or even something of like a human body shit. He's sick.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, okay, well, if we go, like, you can't go into, you'll get sick and you can't bring it back down to earth. So it's like this moral thing of him being like, please, I don't feel good. Like, I think just simplify it.
Well, I mean, even the scene where like they said that the Americans saw the ship go up and there was something that covered the stars, right? For a second, I'm like, oh, maybe whatever's out there's like a giant shape, like almost like a kraken in space. Like even then it'd be an alien, so I wouldn't like it as much. But the idea of something like a ship floating through space or like a being the size of a ship that's like consuming things, like.
I think there could have been all kinds of stuff. One of the scariest things I ever seen in my life. I'm not even joking. It like legitimately, I cried after I saw it when I was a kid. At the end of Men in Black, when the Milky Way is in a fucking marble thing.
Yeah.
And you know how much that fucked me up. And I'm like, you could do something like that where it's like a puppet master thing.
Yeah.
You know, like that within itself. That's fucking horrifying.
Yeah.
And it's like it's just the trope. It's just as soon as you do creepy smile. The tendrils.
The smile killed it for me. When it said the shape smiled, that's when I was
it's
like,
floating around. They come around and they're smiling. I'm like, you know what I would have done? I would have whipped out my cock and beat off on the screen. I would have beat it all over the fucking screen and been like, eat it.
This is the reaction.
That's actually the scariest. That actually fucking scared the shit. I did not see him walk up. And that scared me so bad. He has a fucking like red blanket around him. He looks like a little like a little Italian woman.
Station with him.
That was the little yeah.
That like this is the ending, by the way, that you started by saying, Now you're like, you know what I would have done? I would have whipped out. I've got you fired up talking about it.
I don't know. I mean, like all in all, it's just these are the stories that piss me off the most because it's done so well.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the guy was like, I have this awesome story. What if it was like a flying like tendril guy and they're smiling?
And then they say, let me in, and everyone dies. Everyone kills themselves.
Yeah, it's just at the point where it's just all this creativity to the point to where it's simple things can be just so much more effective. And like actually just like, ugh, God damn, that nerve the fuck of me. Like I said, even the fucking Men in Black guy of like an alien with the marble, that like legitimately scared the fuck out of me when I was younger. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. All in all, you know, not to be a dick, bit of a letdown.
Everything you said then.
To be fair,
a bit of a letdown.
To be fair, I did say I'd whip my dick out on the screen.
That's pretty rough.
If you sat there though, and the guy was like trying to get in your head, let us in. They're like floating around like this. Are you freaked out by our even if I was floating in the void? What are you gonna do to a guy who's just like, I'm my dick? Floating there. Lodowski never thought to do this shit, did he? Got a little lotion bottle.
Okay. All right. I like.
Oh! I mean, what would the aliens do? Let us in. You come and get me. I'm covered. I am Waffle House hash browns. I am smothered and covered, dude. Seriously, onions and cheese all over. That's what I am.
I also like the idea that like maybe
or shit yourself.
I also like the idea that maybe like all the lost cosmonauts went into the wormhole, and then when Mir went in, they all found their way to it at like the same point in time. So like maybe Ladovsky was the only one living up there with all the dead bodies of the other lost cosmonauts, and he lost. There's so many cool elements here. And I just wasn't satisfied by the payoff.
The more that I think about it, the more I'm like, you just could have like pissed or shit yourself. And it's like, what would they have done? Would they have pursued you? Let us in. And it's like just diarrhea all in your pants.
I don't think they had the idea to stab themselves. It's like they're being forced to by
that.
The
Or imagine what did they gain out of that? Why don't you tear your throat?
That's my
if
point.
I sat there and I was just like my dick and like have my my dick off, I just shove things up my ass. And I'm like, okay, what do I do now?
That's crazy.
I'm just saying, what is the end game? That's like the one thing. It's like it reminds me of this in Resident Evil 3. Extinction, one of the dumbest movies of all time. The world is a desert planet, and yet Umbrella is underground being like, how do we control the world? It's gone! There's zombies on a desert planet. That's like what it's like. We're intergalactic beings and we exist in a place. And then he's like, no, they exist in a time where there is no life. What do you mean? You've came across how many thousands of aliens?
Yeah, they clearly.
What do you seem to be doing pretty fucking good.
They
What about
exist. They exist. You know what else?
That's how all the alien species, it's like one.
You know what else? Apparently, this alien species that has conquered galaxies, nebulas of people, creatures, need this one astronaut to convince them to send a shuttle up. They can't just go down to the planet themselves. And also, even if that is the case, why then start screeching and making everyone on the mission control center kill themselves? How does that help them sending a shuttle up? Like, they're going to scream, half of them are going to die, and the other half are going to be like, they raise a point. We should go get them.
Take a metal rod, put it in your penis. Every time they screech, you're sounding.
Maybe that's what the let us in is. It's like, oh, we'll stop if you send a ship up. But if they're super smart, they can't do that if they all stab themselves in the eye.
If you just looked at me, you're like, I like this. What would they do? It's like, you're like, oh,
Well, I think it's supposed to make you it compels you to kill yourself. I don't think they were doing it to relieve the pressure. It's like,
no, I thought they did the screeching thing because it was like torturous.
No, because remember, he's reaching to turn it off and his hand grabs a pin and he's like resisting it.
I don't give a fuck. I'd put a big pen in my eye, whip my dick out and beat it off.
The point is,
I'm just saying, can you imagine the alien being like, he stabbed me in his eye, but he's still beating off?
okay, the point is their plan didn't make a lot of sense. Whatever. I was about to say I don't want to go too hard on the ending, but we have gone so hard on the ending. Look, the reason I'm fired up is because it was good, and I wasn't satisfied by the way it ended.
Yeah.
So
there's never any point, Isaiah, that I should come to the conclusion that you beat the monster by beating your
okay. So Darius, I feel like you've raised that as a potential strategy in multiple stories we've read.
I don't think I've ever said stick a metal rod up your penis.
No,
when they
you
do the
haven't
high
said that
pitched thing you're
exact
sounding.
combination of words, but the idea. Like you pushing some kind
Then
of
that's a flaw. Then
that's
a flaw of the story. If my conclusion comes to I can beat your system,
you present some sexually adverse scenario at the end of a story.
then that's an issue. Because stories I do like, that you couldn't beat it that way.
Okay, my point is, there was good stuff here from the author. There was like a lot of good writing prose. I would be interested to see what they do with other stories. Because like if that ending had like kind of ended at part 3, stellar. I really liked it, but yeah,
it didn't.
It didn't. So
thanks for listening. If you're listening on the audio platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts, hope you gave us a good rating. I'm sure we deserved it on this one. And then and also, hey, patrons, thanks.
You also forgot to do an intro.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's a long weekend. Long week, man. Long fucking week. Can I at least get a long week break on that one? Long week. Nick's not giving me anything. Looks like he smelled his own fart over there. Thanks to you patrons. We appreciate you. And also, if you haven't signed up to the Patreon yet, we do have an interview with Dathan Auerbach coming out soon. I
think it'll be out by the time this episode.
So it might already be out, but it is the author of the Pen Pal. Author of Pen Pal. What?
Just everything you're saying is wrong in some way. Just in little ways, something you're saying is incorrect every time.
We have an interview with him. It was fun. It was much cleaner than this. If you're in your car right now listening to this and you're still just having both hands on the steering wheel, I want you to really wonder, why didn't you click off or turn it down or turn it off? Even now, as you still don't click off, why?
It's still going.
Dude, you need to click off. Click off!
you